What's going on, guys? I have a very exciting tutorial for you today. Today I'm going to be showing you how to Datamosh directly in After Effects using this plugin, Datamosh. No more having to use AVI demux. You have so much creative control here. It really is an incredible plugin. So if you want to follow along, I'm going to leave a link in the description for the Datamosh plugin. You can just get single user license and get a 14-day trial. And once you have that installed, you will go to Window, Extensions, and Datamosh to open it up. So I have two clips here. I'm going to click and drag on one to the composition button to open it in a new composition. And I'm just going to move this to where I want it to start, go to where I want it to end, press Alt right square bracket. So now it's clipped. And I'll go to the start and go Alt left square bracket. So now it's just this clip. I actually want this other clip to be before it. So I'm going to be doing a transition. You can also do this just with the clip. It doesn't have to be a transition, but I'm going to show you how to do both. So I'm just going to drag this where I want it to be. Just these two cars drag racing. And then I want the Datamosh to start around here. And then I want the whole work, or the whole composition to end here. So I'm going to press N and right click on the work area and click trim comp to work area. Now we have a simple composition, just this clip and then this clip. So to use the Datamosh plugin, we're going to go to the last frame of the first clip and press B. So you have the work area over both of these. I'm actually going to turn off the audio for these. And then go to our Datamosh plugin and set our settings. So for starters, I'm just going to disable duplicate delta frames and only use remove frames, which I will explain how this works in a little bit. But for now, I'm just going to show you how to use it. And then click force re-render if you have this option and press Datamosh. What it's going to do is going to render out that clip, that work area in After Effects, and then Datamosh the file and automatically re-import it into that composition. So it's extremely easy. There's really not much that you have to do. You just press Datamosh, and then as I'll show you in a second, you have to just drag the clip over to where the work area was. There you can see quite a awesome transition here. I'll just cut that first frame off. Yeah, so that's a pretty great transition. This is pretty simple data moshing. This is, what you can do with a basic set of skills in AVI demux. However, it's a lot quicker here if you wanted to, change the frame it started at and moved it over here or something. It would be very quick to make those sorts of changes because you can do it right here in After Effects. So let's say that you're happy with this, but you want it to be a little bit more intense, or let's say you're not doing a transition at all. So what you really want is duplicate delta frames. So I'm going to turn this on, and I will first show you how to use it, and then I'll explain how it works. So I'm going to set the interval to 7, duration to 5, and the end to 30. And I can turn off force re-render. So it's not going to re-render the work area out in After Effects. It'll just use the last saved render. If you move the work area at all or use a different clip or composition, then you want to make sure you have that checked. So I'm just going to hit Datamosh there. Beautiful day today. All right, click and drag back over the clip. Now you can see it's a lot more intense than it was before. And because I set the end to 30, this duplicate delta frames actually only goes on for 30 frames. So if I go Control Shift right arrow key, I can skip by 10 frames and just go 10, 20, 30. You can see after that it stops being so intense. So I'll explain how this works briefly. I'll also link to a video in the description about how video compression works that explains it very well. So basically when you compress a video, it separates it into iframes, P frames, and B frames. So every time there is a transition or a lot of data changes, such as between this frame and this frame, it would create an iframe, which is one frame that contains pixel information for the entire frame. And it's basically an image. But what you might notice is between this frame and the next frame, really not that much changes. It's, the pixels around here are almost the exact same, they just move slightly. And it would be a waste of space for the renderer to render this frame as an iframe and contain all the pixel data. So what it does is it uses delta frames, which only store part of the pixel data. So part of this is stored as pixel data, and then the rest of it is stored as information about how the existing pixels on the screen move. And that saves a lot of space. So P frames are delta frames, which contain about 50% of the pixel data, and B frames are those which contain about 20% of the pixel data. And what this duplicate delta frames option does is it allows you to actually repeat P and B frames for a set period of time. So here we have the duration set to 5. So that means for 5 frames, it's going to repeat that P or B frame. And so the pixels that already exist, in the way that they moved from this frame to this frame, they're going to move in the same way from this frame to this frame, and then for the next 5 frames. And that's how you get this repeating effect where, it's going in one direction and it keeps going in that direction for 5 frames. And then for the next 7 frames, it just uses the delta frames from the original clip, and it starts to look a little bit more like the original clip. And then for the next 5 frames, it will repeat the delta frames again, and it starts to get even more trippy. So you can modify these as much as you'd like. For some reason, the plugin forces you to have the interval greater than the duration. I really don't know why that is, but if you want to have it repeat, let's say repeat delta frames just for the whole clip, then you could set duration of 3000 and duration of 3001, because you can't have the interval, or the interval rather, 3001. You can't have the interval be 0 if the duration is not also 0. So yeah, that is duplicate delta frames. There's also presets included for settings that they thought looked good, but it depends on the clip. For this one, because there's a lot of movement of the camera, it's going up and down, I think it looks kind of weird to have the duration so big. So I'd probably set the duration as something more like 2, and maybe use the same interval, and keep remove frames. So I'm going to turn up the intensity of this as well. So I'm just going to see how this looks. For clips with less movement, you will probably want a higher duration. So that's that. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. It doesn't look as, this one, it was kind of like there was periods where it was just moving in one direction and then another one, and it's really hard to follow what was going on. And I also didn't have an end on this one, so it just keeps going all the way. That's basically all there is to know about the Datamosh plugin. There's a debug mode information. It's very simple, just the 3 options and the presets. If you wanted to do this and not have a transition, I'll briefly go over what you might want to do in that case. So let's say I just wanted to Datamosh. I'll delete these by clicking one, holding shift, clicking the top one, and pressing delete. Let's say I just wanted to Datamosh from here to the end of the clip, and actually I'll end the work area here by pressing end, or N for end, B here, and right click, trim comp to work area, so I have a shorter composition. Anyway, I'm going to press B here. Say I just wanted to Datamosh this with no transition. Well, there's almost definitely going to be no iframes here, so we don't need remove frames, but I will use duplicate delta frames, and since there's not a whole lot of movement, I'm going to make the duration higher to increase the trippy effect. And then I'm just going to hit Datamosh. Actually, I'm going to make sure force re-render is checked because it's not the same underlying clip. Just going to hit Datamosh. Just going to render that out, Datamosh it, and re-import it into our composition. Click and drag so it's back in the work area. and you can see creates quite an interesting effect. Yeah, I like that quite a lot, actually. So that's the essence of Datamosh. Again, I've linked to it in the description. You can get a 14-day free trial. It's also an affiliate link, so if you end up buying it, I will get a couple dollars. But I really have chosen to make a video about this because I think it is a fantastic plugin. I was so excited when I found it, and when I watched the video, you know, it wasn't super clear about what the interval and duration was, and it was an older version of the plugin that didn't work quite in the same way. So I just wanted to make a video that would make it a little more clear how to use it, and also to be able to share this incredible plugin with more people. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are a video editor or video creator, then this channel is for you. I make tutorials, I make videos about the video creation and editing process and lifestyle, particularly music videos, but other types of videos as well. So if you're a video creator, recommend you check out my channel and subscribe. And besides that, I hope you have a fantastic day. Peace.